What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another COD mobile video. So today I do want to discuss a further adjustment that was just recently made for the patch notes for season 4. Because yes, I think a week ago I did make a video on the patch notes stating every change that's going to happen in terms of balancing. But at the same time, of course, most of these are always subject to change. And that seems to be the case this time around, specifically with one particular weapon. And that particular weapon happens to be the CX9. So it seems like the CX9 is getting a lot of different changes within these past seasons, basically in terms of its speed, but also some nerfs to its hit flinch, mainly because the burst, the burst magazine is actually pretty overpowered. But in terms of all the other attachments, it seems they're trying to speed it up so it could be a pretty decent weapon even when you're not using the burst rounds, when you're just using it in full automatic. So for all of you guys that do play ranked or just play regular multiplayer on a everyday basis, you guys are probably wondering why they bother to even update it since, I would say that most of you guys would probably agree that the CX9 currently is at a pretty decent place, whether or not you're using, the 3-round mag or if you're using the, just basic full auto. And even I agree. I mean, I think the CX9 where it is even now is actually pretty good with both options. You could burst pretty accurately at pretty decent ranges. And when it comes to full auto, the range has also been increased for some of the barrels. They made them a lot faster. Well, just overall, the gun handling for the CX9 has always been decent. But why are they making all these different changes? So just in case you guys don't know what the changes are, let me explain them. So for the first change, they did nerf the hollow point mags, not with range or anything, but just with hit flinch penalty. And they actually reverted that change that they were going to make with the hit flinch on the FR stock, where you get like 20% extra hit flinch. But no, it just remains at 8% while this gets 12%. And they did this knowing full well that a lot of players usually build their burst mags with a lot of speed. So even with these two things on, you're going to have a combined hit flinch penalty of 20%. But as for the other barrels, the CX23 barrel, I'm assuming this is the one that actually gives you more speed. They increased the damage range penalty from 5% to 10%. And they also reduced the aim time penalty for the CX38 barrel, basically making it from 13% to 8%, so it's going to be a little bit faster as well. But they also made those adjustments for the CX38E as well as the CX38S. So just in case you guys don't know which one those are, one of them is the extended barrel, basically kind of like the marksman barrel for the CX9, and the other one is a suppressed range enhancing barrel. Basically what they're trying to adjust with the CX9 is to at least nerf the potency of the 3-round burst mags by adding all these different flinch options or these different flinch penalties for a bunch of different types of attachments. But when it comes to using it in full auto, they're trying to make it a little bit faster. With the full auto, I would say that now that that both of them are at 13%, and knowing that SMG monolithic suppressors are usually 7% ADS time, you're just basically getting the speed reduction of, I guess, using one of those mags without having the monolithic suppressor on. So it's like with these changes, they're trying to influence a lot of players into using the full auto option rather than just using the burst option, which I don't really think that's going to change anything. And to be honest, with the burst option, people are only using that during search and destroy because that's where it's at its best. But when it comes to hardpoint, obviously, given that there's a lot of players that you have to deal with all at once, using the burst option isn't really going to be the best, move. A lot of you guys could probably think that they're trying to improve this to kind of compete with the Fennec because that's like the only other viable SMG that shoots at a fast rate. I mean, other than the USS9, it shoots at a slow rate, but obviously it does more damage. But usually a lot of people would compare the Fennec with the CX9 given that they're pretty similar. They're trying to make the CX9 into a superior full auto option, but there's also a potential other reason for that. I kind of hesitated whether or not I should actually talk about this upcoming thing that's happening within probably just 2 seasons, mainly because, I mean, it's kind of too soon. But given that we have these changes now for the CX9, I think this is actually a good time to actually discuss it. By the time we got the test server for season 3, we ended up getting a lot of information for the upcoming weapons, more than we normally would, because usually with the test server, we find out what the next 2 weapons are going to be. But this time around, we ended up finding out that we ended up finding out the information of 4 upcoming weapons: the M1 Gran, the Ram 7, the Vargo S, as well as the VMP. And the VMP is the one weapon I have not talked about at all. I have mentioned the Ram 7 in, I think, the videos talking about the newer guns that are coming in, but I did not mention the VMP yet. I wanted to say that for a different video because I do have some experience with that weapon from the games that I came from, but I just never found the right time to actually discuss it until now. So yes, the VMP is going to be making its way to COD Mobile around Season 6, I believe. And it's a weapon that a lot of people should probably be concerned about because in the past Call of Duty games that it's been out on, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, it has always been basically a game ruining type of SMG. It's always been like the meta SMG. In Black Ops 3, basically throughout its entire life cycle, it was meta. And even after its life cycle, it was still meta. And then when Black Ops 4 came around, everything was fine. The balance was pretty decent until the VMP came out at the very last season, and then that's what everyone just stuck to for the rest of the life cycle and beyond. In short, the VMP is notorious for being extremely overpowered. And it's a rapid fire type of SMG, so it does shoot pretty fast with a good fire rate. But they never bothered to like modify the damage to make it fair. They always just made it extremely powerful no matter what range you were in. And that's what I'm kind of afraid of what's going to happen when that weapon does release in this game. For all we know, they could balance things out pretty well, but I think they're making the CX9, which is another fast-firing SMG, powerful enough to at least combat it when it does come out. And if you do think about it, I mean, there are a lot of changes that have happened in this game, especially in patch notes, where it may not make sense at first, but then when we actually end up playing that update, we kind of understand why they made some changes like that. So I think to me, this is them just trying to prepare for the worst. And I understand why, because the VMP, again, has a track record of just being extremely overwhelming to the point where you basically can't fight against it. But to be honest, I think that's why the CX9 is getting buffed so much recently, because they're kind of preparing that weapon for when that time comes. It kind of makes sense if you think about it. And for all of you guys that did play Black Ops 4 or Black Ops 3 and you know what I'm talking about, I mean, you've seen how that weapon performs. So yeah, I think they're trying to, I guess, just prepare ahead of time before, things get bad. I know a lot of players are kind of also concerned about the Ram 7, but again, we're like a whole last season away before that thing comes out. And plus, we haven't even gone to Season 4 yet. We're about like maybe 2 days at this point before the update, or I guess before the whole entire season comes out. And we still have to worry about the Vargo S. I don't even know how well that one's going to perform. I did make a whole video on that, but again, for all I know, that gun could be completely trash or it could be completely good. But I know, like with the Ram 7 as well as the VMP, those two weapons are definitely the two biggest ones that we should be concerned about. There could also be a quick other explanation as to why they're buffing it, because obviously there's going to be a legendary for it next season with the collaboration, the 7 Deadly Sins or whatever it's called. So that could also be another reason why they're buffing it. But again, I think they're buffing it for more than just that. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like, make sure to subscribe for some more COD Mobile content. I'll see you guys next time.